So, one question, Felicia. There's a lot of physical comedy in here, and obviously you demonstrate a lot of martial arts prowess. You want to tell us a little bit about how that happened and how you prepared for that part of the role?
I mean, I had been preparing for Dragon Age, and I was like cut, like not now. I was cut, and I was like not eating food and like eating chicken breasts and hating life and lifting weights. I mean, who does that? It's not a good life, guys. It's not easy to be pumped. I don't know, it's not something to envy. So anyway, I'm back to myself. But anyway, at the time, I did have like muscles in crazy weird places that popped out weirdly. So I was able to like kick really well in this movie.
Well, and you actually hurt a few people too, I think. I mean, there's scenes in the movie that are real, folks. I mean, and that's, she didn't hold back in the role. And, I just sort of thought maybe this is a cathartic experience for you.
I mean, I want to stab a person. I mean, I won't lie.
Okay.
Not in a fatal way, but just... Listen, I trained a lot with daggers all through the fall, and then I got to use my fists in this movie and my feet. And I'm not saying that I want to hurt anybody, but if it was a situation where somebody could be not hurt by me kicking them in the face, I would want to hurt. I want to kick them in the face.
Right. Well, I know for a fact, folks, that both Paul and Greg emerged on various occasions from set with black eyes, and I wasn't quite sure what caused it, but
it's not true.
I don't know. That was a rumor.
About that.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about that.
Okay. Well, we'll do that at the next panel, folks. Anyway, so let's go back to casting for a minute. And Sherry and Paul, tell us a little bit about how you got this sort of rich cast that sort of, they come from all different walks of our cultural, film backdrop. How did you get them involved in the project?
Well, I wrote the role for Felicia, and it just worked out, and like, oh my God, this actually happened. And then Sherry can tell the rest.
Let's see, what are some of the stories? Well, we had a really great casting director named Geraldine Flood, and she helped us, attract some really great people for auditions. And Paul's script is very strong, so a lot of people really wanted to come in and read for it. I think the one person that we did single out was Kevin Wu, who's Kev Jumba on YouTube, and we did sort of want to integrate the YouTube crowds and the fans because it's a movie that I think that those fans will really enjoy. So we sort of handpicked Kevin as well, in addition to Felicia. And then the other roles, we read a lot of people. I think for Jerry's role, you sort of had him in mind as well. Not maybe initially, but...
I think we're thinking about George Takei, Sulu from Star Trek, as well. But his schedule didn't really work out. And then I think what I was doing is I was just watching The 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I go, man, this guy is so funny. And I go, how about this guy? And Geraldine goes, I love that guy, I know that guy. And it just worked out.
I'm going to say that guy, I get to say a lot of profanity in this. If you've seen Legend of Neil, this takes this maybe one step farther. All right, whatever. Don't bring your kids. But Jerry Benton, he could do improv that made my ears bleed. I was offended. I've never been offended in my life.
No, you weren't.
I mean, I was like, he's the funniest guy I've ever met, but he literally he's the craziest improviser, and I can't wait to see what actually makes it in the movie, and then what won't pass standards.
There were times when Jerry would deliver his lines, and the entire set would just stop in silence because they weren't quite sure if we were allowed to do what he was doing. I mean, it got to be, it was sort of obscene for everybody, but it worked,
funny.
and we took the juiciest parts. That's the greatest thing, is you'll see so much improv in here that was never expected.
Yeah.
Go Jerry.
And then Jason, we also had in mind from the beginning, and he's just so funny in this movie. And then Bob Picardo, of course, from Star Trek. We really wanted to represent the Trekkies. So he came to this role with a lot of his own props, which I thought was really interesting. Like, he really thought deeply about the character and came with a lot of things, which we ended up using and ended up just adding to his character. It was very funny.
Yeah, he definitely did his homework, and it was really amazing to see an actor just go, you know what, I'm thinking about this, Paul. Oh, that's great. And here are all the props. okay, let's let's have a go.
I think one of the amazing things about independent filmmaking is that it's so important to have the right chemistry with the team that you've engaged on the set. And I just feel like with this team, everyone really enjoyed working as much as they did just being together. And we had a great 3 weeks together, and a lot of folks are still in touch. Jerry wants to know when we can get him involved in the next con. So we just have to somehow edit out a lot of his responses.
I want to say one thing, and I don't know about a lot of you who've been on movie sets, but usually they make you wake up at like 4 a.m., okay? And they go to set, and you work from like 6 a.m. It's horrible. It takes a lot of work. If you, do something with this. It's so early. But this movie, and I know this is a stupid thing to point out, but it was so much fun for me because I didn't have to wake up until 9. And because they shot from 11 to 11, and I just encourage you that if you're inside a set, everybody's so much happier if you don't have to wake up early. Right? I don't know. It's
Honestly,
not an important thing for the movie that you really need to know, but I'm just throwing it out there.
You have to keep your performers well rested and well fed, and it makes a difference. And that's what we try to do. So, anything else about casting that you guys want to talk about? Because I think we should move on to production design. I'm really, Felicia had alluded to this sort of very unique look that we have on set with the control center where a lot of the action takes place. This was really the embodiment of a vision that Greg Aronowitz created specifically for, the tone and the look of this movie. And maybe, Greg, if you could tell us a little bit more about how that whole vision came together and was, manifested the way it was.
Why don't we show the clip of the...
Well, the AV guy? Our computer shut down, but why don't you start talking? We'll see if we can get a clip up.
Picture's worth 1,000 words. I don't have 1,000 words. Well, the basic idea was that the counting. The Rock Jocks.
One of the most interesting things I thought about what Paul had written for the Rock Jocks was they were kind of frozen in time. They didn't advance with the rest of us. They still had reel-to-reels and dot matrix printers. That's kind of the direction that I went. Right under the main video screen, there is a giant control panel with all these blinky lights and everything. It originally was a functioning piece of equipment in the 50s and 60s. It used to track airplanes. That particular piece has been in war games, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Those were the things that inspired this movie. There's lots of details, so you kind of get lost in it. Everywhere the camera looks, there's interesting things. When you walk in, your eye goes everywhere. In the end, what I get from the script, and hopefully what people will get from the movie, is that no matter how advanced your equipment is, it's the human element that actually makes things work.
My first thought was, am I wearing the same shirt? That would have been embarrassing. Yeah, same people, different show. Could anybody even understand what I was saying there? No. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, then I guess there's pictures, but I still have to do 1,000 words. So just really quick, you kind of saw what it looked like. The idea was that the Rock Jocks were founded after the Roswell crash. The alien that arrived gave the people of Earth the information that they were passing through an asteroid belt. So we needed to blast the asteroids down, and he helped develop the technology. But our story takes place in present day, and the government has systematically cut the budget from the first day that they built the station. So when we come into it now, it's still frozen in time, like Felicia said. It's like just lost in time in the 60s. They're using reel-to-reel tape and big hard disk drives and like Amigas and Apple IICs and stuff like that. They're trying to save our lives every day with this futuristic technology that's decades old. So we wanted to kind of capture that without having to really explain it too much in the story. So when you walk in, you instantly get that that's what's happening. Silence.
It was good. You just needed a button.
Yeah, I didn't have one. Give me one. Button.
And there you go, folks.
So the other thing that Greg did, and we've alluded to it in the teaser, he created Smoking Jesus, which is the resident alien in the control room, and you know, he's sort of behind the scenes doing everything he can to coach the Rock Jocks to doing what they do to save humanity. Greg created Smoking Jesus with the help, obviously, of Doug Jones. You guys know Doug Jones. He was our creature star, and he was just unbelievable. And you know, he and Greg had worked together on a number of projects before. You want to tell us a little bit about how that whole sort of relationship flourished, you know, on set, and how you brought Doug to life as our alien star?
Do you want to start that?
Well, no, he got in from Dragon Age, right? Did you know Doug before?
I had known him, but I'd never put makeup on.
Yeah. So
We stole him from Dragon Age.
Yeah, you didn't steal him. I mean, you acquired him in a post-haste way. Is that
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Doug specializes in a lot of creature makeup. So, and I had him do a role in Dragon Age Redemption, which is coming up. He plays a Canary. And then I guess you talked to him.
At the rap party, Doug said, like, oh my God, it was so great working with you, and let's do it again sometime. And I was like, you know what? In 3 weeks, we're shooting this other movie, and I already have your head cast. It would be awesome. I could just do alien makeup on you, and you know, we'll just do it again. And he did. So he's the best. He's, you know, Silver Surfer. He's Abe Sapien. Anytime you see a tall, skinny creature that's like doing weird things with his hands, that's Doug Jones.
But because he did those two things in a row, I felt really guilty.
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, I was like, hey, Doug, I have another role for you, but I promise you not to wear makeup. So he's actually in the guild this season. We announced that at Comic-Con. He'll be showing up later in the season, and he's, you guys, it's really funny. And I feel like I gave him a gift because he's such a good actor, but everybody always puts makeup on him. And I'm like, you're actually a really great actor without makeup or with makeup. So it was really cool to be able to write a role for him that kind of, you know, made up for the hours of makeup that he...
But you can't miss him because he's the tall, skinny guy that moves his hands.
Yeah.
There's your button, Greg.
There's your button. You got a button.
I will say, Doug.
Questions?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no.
Doug was actually a calming influence on the set. You know, when you know, tempers flared and you know, it was 11 o'clock at night and we had to, you know, get the hell out of Dodge. Doug was there just, you know, just sort of floating on air. You know, he was in his moment, and everyone just looked at Doug and thought, well, you know, if he can be that way, why can't I? And you know, so it was very symbiotic. We worked with Doug, and he delivered I think one of the greatest performances we've seen, and he kept us all sort of grounded in you know, the reality that this is just a film. You know, you don't have to go crazy making it, and so it worked out real well.